Good morning. In 2 Timothy, Paul has made the point that the gospel is at the center of things, that your passion and your perseverance, your passion for the gospel, your perseverance in light of the gospel as a disciple of Christ should be paramount. In chapter 2, verse 14, he says, "Remind them of these things." Well, what are these things? Your passion for the gospel and perseverance in light of the gospel. That's what he's talked about up to this point. And charge them before God not to quarrel about words, which does no good, but only ruins the hearers. Quarreling about words. Paul mentions similarly in 1 Timothy 6:4. It says, "He is puffed up with conceit and understands nothing. He has an unhealthy craving for controversy and for quarrels about words, which produce envy, dissension, slander, and evil suspicions." He's talking there about anybody who teaches a false doctrine. Here's the point in 2 Timothy that he's trying to make. He's trying to point out that people just get ruined by getting off into meaningless, trivial arguments that at the end of it just take you away from the central course of the gospel. You can argue about a million things theologically. Not everything is equally significant. Our theology is like on a hierarchy. So we have a bottom layer, that's the gospel, things that are essential for the gospel, a set of doctrines that if you reject them, well, if you reject them, then you would be rejecting the gospel. Then you have a level of things that are important, that matter, and they may matter for how church runs, they may matter for other areas of sanctification in your life, they may matter deeply for relationships, for civil society and other things. And then you work your way up to things that don't matter quite as much and we can stake a claim on, and they may have some import to other areas of doctrine. And then we get to things that don't matter a hill of beans. And the point is this: it's not to place everything where it needs to be as much as it is to recognize that there is a hierarchy, and that you need to recognize that you ought not spend your time quibbling about these things up here when the central matters of the gospel, of the building blocks of life, the things that do make for significance both in culture and in your own life, are at stake. So it's not just keep the main thing, although you need to keep the main things the main thing. You need to keep the main things the main things. You need to be able to recognize that you can get off, and I can get off, thinking about meaningless things and arguing about them. And to be honest, it ends up becoming more an issue of personal pride than anything. And it only ruins people who hear them, because it takes them away from the gospel and gets their sights set on other things that ultimately aren't going to be the warp and woof of what it takes to the baseline level, the essential elements, the grassroots pieces that make for a life of gospel godliness with Christ. So focus on the gospel and focus on those key elements that you build up from the gospel that form the foundation of your life. Have a wonderful day.